May 5, 1943. Midnight clutches the North Atlantic like a shroud, 500 miles east of Newfoundland's jagged shores. The wind howls across the black waves, whipping salt spray into the faces of the men on the conning tower of U-230. Captain Lieutenant Herbert Werner grips the railing, his eyes piercing the darkness through binoculars fogged by the relentless chill. The diesel engines thrum below, a steady growl that masks the pounding of his heart. Around him, his crew huddles in oilskins, breaths visible in the icy air, listening to the crackle of the radio, the lifeline connecting their lone wolf to the pack. You can almost feel the tension coiling in the air, thick as the fog rolling in from the west. Werner's boat slices through the swells, part of a massive rudel. Over 40 U-boats converging like shadows in the night. They've been summoned by BDU, Befehlshaber der Unterseeboote, Grand Admiral Dönitz himself, the lion they all revere. Reports have trickled in, a slow, fat convoy, ONS-5, lumbering westward with 43 merchant ships loaded with war materiel, tanks, fuel, food for the Allied beasts in Britain. The Admiral's orders are clear. Form the lines, Star, Fink, Amsel packs uniting in a deadly embrace. Attack without mercy, the signals demand. Sink them all. Werner's lips curl into a grim smile beneath his beard, crusted with salt. Just months ago, in the happy times, they'd ruled these waters. He remembers the early days, inspired by aces like Otto Kretschmer, the silent Otto, who'd slipped through escort screens like a ghost, torpedoes finding their marks in fiery eruptions. Kretschmer's capture back in '41 had been a blow, but the packs had evolved. Coordinated strikes, radio-directed ambushes turning lone hunters into a swarm. In March, they'd mauled convoys HX-229 and SC-122, sending 21 ships to the depths in a single frenzy. The Allies bled tonnage faster than they could build it. Victory felt close, the stranglehold on Britain's lifeline tightening. But tonight, something nags at Werner. The sea feels watchful. Whispers from other boats echo over the shortwave. Enemy aircraft spotted earlier, evasive dives. He shakes it off. Night is their domain. Surfaced U-boats are invisible phantoms, faster than any convoy, stealthier than destroyers. The pack assembles. U-406 reports contact, then U-264 chimes in, vectors plotting the convoy's path. Werner orders a course adjustment, the boat heeling slightly as it turns. The lookout's voice cuts through the wind. Lights on the horizon, Herr Callot. Faint, but there, starboard bow. Excitement ripples through the crew. Werner leans forward, the binoculars revealing distant silhouettes, smokestacks belching, hulls plowing through the waves. The convoy stretches like a wounded herd, flanked by meager escorts, corvettes, destroyers, their ASDIC pings lost in the storm's roar. A gale has battered them for days, scattering ships, but now the weather clears just enough for the kill. Prepare tubes 1 through 4, Werner commands, his voice steady but laced with hunger. The men below scramble, the acrid scent of grease and sweat rising from the hatch. Torpedoes, G7E electrics, silent runners, slide into position. As the pack closes, radio bursts with coordination. Fink Group, flank south, Star, hold for surface attack. Werner's U-230 surges ahead, positioning for the inner strike. You imagine the thrill, the power of the collective, wolves encircling prey. One boat dives to draw fire, others surface to unleash hell. The first explosions rock the night. U-125 scores a hit, a tanker blooming into orange flame, oil slick igniting the sea. Cheers echo from the tower. But then a shadow overhead, a low hum growing into a roar. Alarm! Aircraft! the lookout screams. Werner's blood turns to ice. How? In this pitch black? The plane streaks low, a British Sunderland flying boat, but something's wrong. It's too precise, too sudden. No time to think. Crash dive, he bellows. The klaxon wails, men tumbling down the hatch as the boat noses into the waves. Depth charges rumble in the distance. Another boat caught? Underwater, the hydrophones pick up chaos, pings sharpening, explosions thundering like judgment. Surfacing hours later, the radio falls eerily silent. Where are the victory signals? U-406, gone. U-264, no response. Werner stares at the chart, disbelief creeping in like the cold. The pack, once unbreakable, is fracturing. What sorcery had the Tommies unleashed? The night stretches on, hiding horrors yet to come.
Dawn creeps over the Atlantic on May 6, 1943, a pale gray light bleeding across the heaving sea. U-230 surfaces cautiously, periscope raised first, then the conning tower breaking the waves like a cautious animal sniffing the air. Herbert Werner climbs the ladder, boots slick with condensation, and sweeps the horizon with his binoculars. What he sees sends a chill deeper than the ocean itself. Wreckage everywhere. Burning oil slicks stretch for miles, dotted with lifeboats, rafts, and the bloated shapes of the dead. But among the debris of Allied merchantmen lie the unmistakable silhouettes of German U-boats, conning towers awash, hulls cracked open like eggshells. U-192 is there, listing heavily, her crew waving frantically from the deck. Further off, U-638 is already slipping beneath the waves, stern first, a final scream of compressed air escaping as she goes down. Werner's throat tightens. These were his comrades, his pack. Just hours ago, the radio had crackled with triumphant claims. 6 ships sunk, 8, 12. The convoy was supposed to be bleeding out. Instead, the sea is littered with the bodies of the wolves. Below deck, the crew gathers around the hydrophone station, faces pale in the red glow of the control room lights. The operator, Oberfunkmat Decker, pulls off his headphones slowly. "Herr Kalö," he says, voice barely above a whisper. "They're still out there. The escorts. They're hunting us now." You can picture it, the claustrophobic steel tube of the boat, the smell of diesel and fear, men pressed shoulder to shoulder as the pings begin again. Sharp, rhythmic, relentless. Aztec. But not the old clumsy sweeps they'd grown used to evading. These pings are fast, accurate, closing from multiple directions at once. Then the sky erupts. A Liberator bomber, American B-24, long range, heavily armed, roars overhead at wave-top height, its lee light blinding the bridge crew in a sudden flood of white. Werner dives for the hatch as machine guns chatter, bullets sparking off the tower. "Clear the bridge! Crash dive! Crash dive!" The boat plunges, valves slamming open, water roaring into the tanks. Depth charges follow almost immediately, closer than any crewman has ever heard. The first pattern brackets them perfectly. Explosions hammer the hull like Thor's hammer, lights shatter, gauges crack, men are thrown to the deck. A depth charge detonates directly above, close enough to buckle plates. The pressure hull groans. Somewhere aft, a pipe bursts, spraying freezing seawater. In the dim emergency lighting, Werner grips the periscope stand, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. The crew works in silence now, no panic, just grim efficiency. Damage reports come in clipped voices, flooding in the diesel compartment, batteries damaged, one torpedo tube cracked. But they're alive, for now. Hours pass in the depths. The boat creeps along at dead slow, hugging the thermocline layer where temperature changes might mask their sound. Every man listens to the escorts prowling overhead, destroyers like HMS Vedette and HMS Loosestrife, corvettes like Sunflower, their crews now the predators. Hedgehog mortars spit their salvos, 24 contact-fused bombs arcing into the water ahead of the ships, exploding only on impact. No more warning splashes, no mercy. Werner thinks of Dönitz's last signal, "Hold the line, the convoy must be destroyed." But the signals from other boats have gone quiet. One by one, the pack is vanishing. U-125, commanded by his old friend Ulrich Folkers, last heard diving under air attack. No further transmission. U-531, U-438, U-456, all gone silent in the last 12 hours. And then comes the report that breaks something inside him. A faint signal, weak and broken, from U-192 before she sank. Sunk by aircraft with new weapon, radar. They see us in the dark. Radar. The word hangs in the control room like a death sentence. The Tommies have centimetric radar now, 10-centimeter waves that their old Metox receivers can't even detect. The Biscay Cross warning device, once their guardian angel beeping frantically when enemy radar swept them, has gone silent. All this time, they've been surfacing blindly into the eyes of the enemy. Werner stares at the chart. 42 U-boats had formed the patrol lines. In 48 hours, 13 are already confirmed lost. The convoy, still steaming west. Battered, yes, 12 ships sunk, but alive. Escorts reinforced by air cover from escort carriers, liberators flying from Iceland and Newfoundland, closing the mid-Atlantic gap. The realization settles over him like freezing water. The happy time is over. The wolves are being exterminated. And somewhere in Berlin, the lion himself must now face the truth. The Battle of the Atlantic is slipping from Germany's grasp. But the fight isn't finished yet, not while U-237 still draws breath beneath the waves.
The convoy steams on, battered but unbroken, its vital cargo bound for Britain's arsenals. In the cold light of that morning, Herbert Werner stands on the bridge once more, the storm finally easing. He stares at the empty horizon where the pack once gathered. No silhouettes. No radio chatter, just the endless sea and the ghosts of the fallen. For the first time, he allows himself to think the unthinkable. The war beneath the waves is lost. And far away in Berlin, in the concrete corridors of the Carnival headquarters, Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz receives the final reports. The Lion paces his office, maps spread before him like a funeral shroud. His staff stands silent as he reads the numbers again and again. Then, in a moment history will record but few will witness, Dönitz sits heavily at his desk and dictates the order that ends an era. All U-boats in the North Atlantic cease operations against convoys. Withdraw immediately. The Battle of the Atlantic has turned irrevocably. The wolves have been driven from the sea. May 24th, 1943. The air in the underground headquarters at Carnival, near Lorient, France, hangs heavy with cigarette smoke and defeat. Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz stands alone before the massive wall map of the Atlantic, its patrol lines now crossed with red X's, dozens of them, each marking a U-boat that will never return. The pins that once represented his proud wolf packs are scattered, thinned to shadows. His chief of staff, Captain Sourcé Eberhard Gott, waits in silence by the door. The latest casualty reports lie on the desk. May alone has seen 41 U-boats lost. 41. More than in any previous month of the war. Crews totaling nearly 2,000 men, many of them his finest commanders, trained over years, irreplaceable. Dönitz's fingers trace the empty spaces on the map. He remembers the heady days of 1941 and 42, when tonnage climbed month after month, when Churchill himself admitted the U-boat peril was Britain's greatest fear. He had promised Hitler the Atlantic could be won, that Britain would be starved into submission before America could fully awaken.
But now, the centimetric radar the Allies call Huff Duff and 10 centimeter has stripped his boats of their invisibility. Escort carriers like USS Bogue and HMS Archer turn every convoy into a floating airfield. Liberators close the air gap. Hedgehog and Squid mortars make evasion almost impossible. And the decrypts, though he doesn't yet fully grasp the extent of Ultra, whisper that the enemy knows too much, moves too precisely. He turns from the map, face carved from granite, but eyes betraying the storm within. "Got," he says quietly. "Prepare the order." The words are simple, yet they will change the course of the war beneath the waves forever. All U-boats are to withdraw from the North Atlantic convoy routes immediately. Operations against convoys are suspended until further notice. Boats are to operate singly in remote areas, avoid contact with strong escorts, and conserve strength for future opportunities. Gott nods, no questions asked. He knows what this means. Black May, the crews will call it later, the month the tide turned blood red for the Kriegsmarine. Dönitz sits at his desk, the weight of command pressing down like the ocean depths on a hull. He thinks of the young men now entombed in steel coffins on the seabed, of letters he will have to write, of promises broken. The lion, architect of the U-boat war, must now admit to himself what he cannot yet say aloud to Hitler. The Battle of the Atlantic cannot be won with the weapons and tactics he has. New boats are coming, the Type 21 Electrobote, revolutionary submarines capable of high underwater speed, longer submersion, snorkels to breathe while hidden, acoustic torpedoes to strike escorts. But they are months away, perhaps a year, and until then he must preserve what remains of his force, trade space for time, let the Allies think they've won the ocean outright. He signs the order with a steady hand, but inside, something fractures. Back in the Atlantic, the surviving boats receive the signal in stunned silence. Herbert Werner aboard U-230 as she limps towards France on one engine, reads the decoded message twice, then a third time. No more convoy attacks. The pack tactic, his tactic, Dönitz's masterpiece, abandoned. He folds the flimsy paper slowly, tucks it into his pocket, and climbs to the bridge. The sea is calm now, almost gentle, as if mocking the carnage it witnessed. In the distance, a faint smudge of smoke on the horizon, an Allied convoy, unmolested, steaming freely towards Britain with its precious cargo of steel, fuel, and hope. Werner watches it until it vanishes. For the first time in the war, the Atlantic feels vast and empty, and for the first time, the men who hunt beneath its surface know, deep in their bones, that they are no longer the hunters. The ocean belongs to the escorts now. The wolves have been driven into the shadows, and though the war will rage for 2 more bloody years, the strangling noose around Britain's throat has been cut forever. In this moment, on a quiet sea under a pale sun, the turning point no one will celebrate arrives not with fanfare or fireworks. It arrives with silence. The silence of empty radio waves. The silence of a fleet in retreat. The silence of a dream dying.